Good morning, students. Today we are going to read the first lecture in the topic of population in the subject of geography O levels. So concentrate yourself. We are going to start now. Population. First, we are going to understand what natural increase in population means. So it is the difference between the crude birth rate and crude death rate expressed in percentage. So the difference between the birth and the death expressed in percentage is called natural increase in population. Birth and death rates are expressed in terms of the per thousand population. So this is important point because small questions, short questions of from this topic also come in the paper. So we will solve the question as well later in the lecture. Next thing is population growth. In addition to natural increase, population growth is also determined by net migration. That is actually the difference between the immigration and emigration. So the total growth in the population at any place of the world is actually the sum of the natural increase, that is the difference between the births and deaths, and the persons going out and coming in to the area. So there are two things. So the natural growth and the net migration, that is actually the difference between the immigration and emigration. So the population growth is equal to natural increase plus net migration. The next thing which we are going to read is the causes of the high population growth. Major causes are: many girls get married by the age of 20. This prolongs their fertility span, and because of the fertility span, there is a high chance of growing the population. Desire for the male child. This desire has different reasons for the upper and lower social classes. For upper classes, sons are a sign of the prestige and a means of retaining huge property within the family. That's why they want more and more sons. Whereas in lower class, people need son to share the economic burden. So this is the reason they want more son. So this is the reason they want more and more uh, sons and daughters. The next reason for the high population growth rate is illiterate people fail to understand the benefits of keeping a small family and how to use contraceptive, and rural menfolk are opposed to using any contraceptive devices. So these are two reasons which are also responsible for the high population growth rate. They are fail to understand the benefits of keeping a small family. So small family means less burden, less requirements, less burden for you to earn as well. So but they are fail to understand the benefit of keeping the small family, but at the same time they fail to understand the use of the contraceptive devices. They are opposed to it. So these are the reasons. Next reason is opposition of the family planning by majority of the religious scholars who consider any form of the family planning un-Islamic. So this is one of the very major reason for the growth of the population growth. The ulamas and the Maulvis are against the family planning. Next, very important reason for high population growth rate is ineffective family planning programs, mainly due to an overall conservative society where effective advertisement cannot be displayed. So, when effective advertisement cannot be displayed, how people will know? So because of the conservative society, we are facing this problem, due to which high population growth rate is occurring in Pakistan. Next reason is inconsistent government policies and political instability also hinder any comprehensive family planning program. So this is another very strong reason, because political instability is there in Pakistan. If one government try to start a comprehensive program on family planning. In the meanwhile, that political government topple over, and the new government is not willing to start the programs of the previous one because of the political interest. So this is another reason. Next is traditional belief that God is responsible for maintaining a large family and custom of having a large family. So this is another very important reason. Yes, in the past, burden was not much. So in the past, families were very big. Like every family was having 7 childs, 10 childs, 15 childs. But today's world is much different from that one. Here, burden is too much. The burden of earning, the burden of maintaining a family. So this is the reason. This is another reason we are failed to understand this reason. Next is decline in death rate is also responsible for high population growth rate. This decline has resulted from improved diet and safe drinking water is reducing the death rate. That's why population is growing, because children are more burning and people are less so this is the reason. Next is improved standard of the living, improved level of the awareness, and better medical care. So these are the things due to which death rate is reduced, but birth rate is on the high. That's why population growth rate is much high. And other reason is net immigration contributed to population growth in 1980s in the wake of the influx of millions of the Afghan refugees into the Pakistan. Earlier, 1947 to 1951, Muslim refugees from India accounted for a large number of the immigrants. So these were also the reasons because of which people are coming into Pakistan and population is on the grow. Another reason is a great percentage of the children means a high birth rate in the future. So if more children are percentage of the children means a high birth rate, definitely in future they will marry, and this multiple chain reaction will be go on, and that will increase the population growth rate. Similarly, the number of the aged people also has been increasing and thus adding to high population growth rate. So these are some reasons of the population growth rate. Next topic which we are going to read in this lecture is problems caused by the population growth. A high population growth rate creates many problems. For example, the first one is lack of the housing units. It is difficult to provide housing to a rapidly growing population in our country that is resource deficient, like Pakistan. The required number of the units is about 25 million. That was estimated in 2006, whereas the available number so far is about 19.5. So available are 19.5, required is 25. Look at the difference. That is almost more than 25%. So 30% is deficient. So there are 30% less housing unit available in Pakistan. So that 30% people are like forced to live in a very miserable life. Lack of the proper housing units leads to congested small residential units. So people are forced to live in a small house. A lot of the people live there. Another problem of the high population growth rate is the unemployment. In an underdeveloped country, rapid growth in population in direct proportion to the rate of the unemployment. Continued state of the unemployment gradually leads to many antisocial practices, like crime will be increased, violence will be increased, drug addiction will be increased, because more population require employment and employment is not there. So what the unemployed people will do then? They will be involved in crime, violence, and drug addiction, etc. So these are the problems of the high population growth rate. Poor economic development together with unemployment further worsen the situation. Next problem of the high population growth rate is lack of the food supply. It is quite difficult to provide food to a growing number of the people every year. Spending on import of the wheat, edible oil, pulses, and milk products. Though Pakistan claims to be an agro-based economy, so this is another problem of the high population growth rate. So we are not able to provide good food to every person. So they are facing the food deficiency. So stunted growth is there. So this is another problem of the high population growth rate. Next is poor health. As a result of the food shortage and quality of the residential units, health of the lower socio-economic group begins to deteriorate. The government has to spend on providing primary and preventive health care to millions. But how can a country like Pakistan can do all this? Because we are resources deficient country. So the population is growing at rapid pace and resources are very limited. So these are the problems of the high population growth rate. Poor economic development. If resources are constantly diverted towards efforts to lower down the population growth rate and lower overcoming problems resulting from a high population growth rate, lesser funds available for various welfare and development programs. So if we are allocating resources for one project, what can we do for the other project, because we do not have much funds. So these are the problems. Next is high dependency ratio. A high percentage of the dependent population also creates many problems. The working population becomes overworked, and this may affect their health and performance badly, because one person is earning and persons are dependent on the person who is earning. So the health and performance of the leading person deteriorated. Government has to spend more on the large proportion. So these are the problems, students. The next problem is rural to urban migration. Rural to urban migration is also linked with an alarming growth in the population in expectation of the better earning opportunities. So people are coming from the towns and villages towards cities. So they are actually expecting better earning opportunities. People of the rural areas tend to migrate to major urban centers. This internal migration has its own problems. Next problem of the increased population is poor literacy rate. Already a high illiteracy rate is a problem. So more children are like coming. So this problem is getting worsen and worsen. If more children are added every year, attempts to improve the poor literacy rate face more difficulties to achieve success. Next problem is burden on civic industry agencies, for example, WAPDA and VASA, etc., is increased as better planning is needed for city design to accommodate a specified number of the residents. So these are a lot of the problems of the high population growth rate. The next thing which we are going to read in the lecture is suggested solutions to the problems. High birth should be lowered down by various ways, and these can be the ways. Number one, more effective and comprehensive family planning programs by encouraging different NGOs, non-governmental organizations, and by launching such programs as Substara, Green Star, and Subchabi, that is Green Key. So this can be done. This problem can be catered, can be controlled by public-private partnership. So this is one way. Next way can be training a large workforce in the form of the lady health workers that will contact married women in different parts of the country to persuade them to observe family planning programs and explaining them the benefits of their health of keeping a small family. So this is another way. Next is winning the confidence of the religious scholars by convincing them that there is a cardinal difference between the abortion is actually killing a child, and the other thing is observing a reasonable space between births. So these are two different things. So if we are successful in understanding them, this thing, so this can be a way to control the population growth. Next is starting a more target oriented and expressive publicity campaign through newspapers, radio, and TV seminars and workshops should be organized by TV and newspaper. So we have to be open. We cannot afford to be conservative. So we have to open, we have to uh, uh, understand these people, the benefits of keeping a small family. So these are some ways of controlling the high population growth rate. Private sector should be encouraged to help the government in providing housing units to the poor and offering creating jobs for the unemployed. Literacy enhancing campaigns should be launched with the help of such non-governmental bodies as the Aga Khan Foundation. The government should also launch more programs like IFA Education for All and the PERS Punjab Education Sector Reform Programs. So literacy should be increased in Pakistan because more literate persons will be, they will understand in a better way the benefits of keeping a small family. So this was the lecture, students. This is one of the very important topic in the subject of the geography O levels. So read this lecture again, learn it, and make your notes. Thank you so much.